would the world be without a woman? A nation we...
Thank you so much. My name is Anita Byegon. I come from Kericho County, representing a ward called Chemosot in Bureti Sub-County. Anita is a mother of two. I have two daughters, 7-year-old and 4-year-old daughters. And who is Anita? Anita is a farmer. I do a lot of farming, passionately, poultry farming to be specific. And before then, before I joined politics, I worked in different organizations. That is after my graduation. I was able to engage myself in manufacturing industries in Mombasa for about 7 years. And at some point, I wanted to go back to the village and give back to my community. So when I decided I wanted to go to the village, my focus majorly was to work with a girl child. And growing up in a community that, it was a struggle as a girl to go through education. And especially some of the things that I felt when I was growing up needed to be addressed and needed to be discussed. I wanted to be a voice on that line, which I focused on training and mentoring girls in school. And majorly, I was supporting girl child when it comes to the menstrual hygiene aspects. And in the year 2016, I learned about a product that I felt like it was something I needed so much to help the girls and to support the program that I had. And I was able to work with an organization called Days for Girls, where our major focus was on mentoring girls on menstrual hygiene aspects and providing them with solutions. And we ended up coming up with an idea that we could make washable sanitary towels that girls could use for 3 years and have them stay in school. And when I learned about that, I ran with it. I trained the women in the village. We started that project where we could visit various schools and just train the girls and provide them with the sanitary towels. And it opened up my eyes to even go deeper and look into what the women and the girls were going through in our communities. And through that program of reaching out to the girls, I was able to look into the families who are also struggling. And about 3 or 4 years down the line, we started looking at how do we solve the challenges of food, challenges of lack of food in the families, and especially looking at some of the children. When you visit school and you meet a child who's not had anything, any meal, and they're in school, they're supposed to concentrate. And I started building a program where we were training families on kitchen gardens. And that was another thing that I realized people really needed that information, and they needed to be told how to do it. I was able to go out of my way and find connections and find partners even outside the country who wanted to work with the families and help us provide solutions which were more sustainable and not just a handout. And we started grouping women in the villages and training them on how they can grow their own food. We using our technique that we were using of a kitchen garden. And all this time I was doing it and just doing my family business of running my poultry farm. But at the same time, taking my time off to just work with them and, try to see if I'm able to make a change or make a difference in those communities. Along the way, as we did all that, we realized there was need for water. Every other time I'm out there with the families, you ask them where they're getting water, you are shocked because the water they were drinking, most of it were not even clean water. They go to the springs. They are natural springs mostly within our communities that we serve in Kericho. but those springs were not protected, and you could have cases of children getting sick more often because of how and where we're getting water and how it's being, how they're able to get that water. And we sat down with a team that I worked with and said, can we do something with these springs? And we started protecting those springs. That was in 2020. We started identifying where the springs were and working on a cost, that how much do we need to do this? And I remember in February 2020, we started with the first spring in one of the communities, and the word went viral that we have somebody who's come to a village and they have helped and they're able to get water in a tap water, and it's clean water, and everybody else wanted us to be able to work with them. So that again opened up another line. We've been working on food, now we were in water, and we mapped out, I think we had about 15 springs that we wanted to work on. And we sat with the team. I remember traveling to the United States and engaging people who wanted to help, and they were able to give me enough support. And when I came back, we did about 15 springs. Politically, I would say the numbers are still very low. I would refer to Kericho County, where I am elected as a woman leader. And looking at the first assembly of Kericho, they elected one woman in one of the wards. Second assembly, they elected one, and that was a new one again. The third assembly where I am in right now, I'm the only one elected. And many other counties, even looking at the numbers that we have now, we still have very low numbers. I was looking at it this morning as I prepared for this, and I realized that as much as there's been growth, looking at 2020, 2017, the numbers, looking at the women, we had around 96 elected across the country in 2017. Looking at 2022, yes, there's been growth. We have about 115 elected MCAs who are women in this assembly, third assembly. But 115 is still a very small number compared to, the number of wards that we have across the country. And that again calls for, when you look at each and every county assembly, there is a top-up. We are calling it nomination that have to, to add up to the two-third, to be able to achieve the two-third gender role. Every other time we have to have nominated women who are MCAs to be able to cover that. And if you ask me how we are doing, yes, Kericho, we have 30 wards, and out of 30 wards, 29 are men, and I happen to be there as an elected woman. And when I look at why I was able to get this position and how, this was my first time attempting for this position, which is something else. Many people ask me, how did you make it? You came in for the first time and you were able to be elected. The same, we have women who've tried 2-3 times before they're given an opportunity. And every time I get that question, why you? Why are you coming in this time and you go straight to the position? And I have realized that if we women would come out and prove that we can deliver, if we can have something to show to the community that, yes, we can do this. I remember as I worked with the community without necessarily going for any position, they would ask me, what do you want? The work you've done for us, even an elected person has not done it. What is this that you want that we can give you? And looking at how I've been able to, work with the people as a woman has actually changed the narrative. I sit with my people in my ward and other wards, and every time I get a referral that I think next time we're going to give an opportunity to the woman because we've seen what you can do. So one thing I believe in is, as women, if given an opportunity and room to be able to deliver, we can do better. Currently, as an achievement or some of the things that I'm able to, to push on having an opportunity to be in the assembly in Kericho. We're working on our gender bill that we're almost at the tail end. That it's a feeling that once we have a guide, once we have something, laws that guides how we can even reach out and empower women, because the most challenging thing for women to even come up in leadership has been empowerment. And if there are ways we can always empower and reach out to the women, I'm sure we will have more women coming up in politics, because politics and money goes together. If women are not empowered, they'll not be able to go through the tough and the most expensive campaign that is in this country as we speak today. So our achievement on or accomplishing the gender bill is going to even give more room to women to be able to access resources that they need, to be able to run businesses that they would do, so that when it comes to opportunities and when it comes to, going for what they would like to go to, they have the resources and they're able to do what they can do as women. I would say campaigning was hard, being a woman, and looking at the cultural aspects that and the belief that we have, especially in our community, that women cannot lead. It was hard to convince. It was hard for people to just believe that a woman is vying for this position. That was I think, at most cases, I had to do 2 times or 3 times what the men were doing just to be able to be at par and to have people win the trust that, yes, you can do this. In most cases, I remember when we were out there campaigning, sometimes you have to go to an extent that you commit to even do some things in a public forum that, yes, I'm going to do this, because you go to communities and people come up with issues and needs. And I remember one of the events that I don't forget was when we were many of us, I think I had about 14 or 15 men with me challenging, that we were all running together. And I remember there was an event we were all in, and men started giving, commitments that, we're in this family and I'm going to do this. I'm going to buy this. I'm going to buy fertilizers. I'm going to buy seedlings or tea seedlings. And it ended up becoming something like we had to prove to the people that, we have the capacity. And it was about who has the capacity to do this, that people are going to make a decision. And it was funny because when I was almost the last one, and it get to where I was and I spoke, I realized everyone was picking tea leaves and tea farms and fertilizers. And that family had a child who was in high school. And I said I was changing this narrative of giving everything about the farming. And I said, I'm going to pick this child and pay for school fees for 1 year. And that changed the whole thing. By the time I left the event, people made a decision and said, yes, we have someone here. Look at what she was able to pull through. When everyone else was looking at one thing, she changed the whole topic and looked at education, which matters most, unlike the others. So it's more about what is this that you can put onto the table. And I think where I sit today, and when I speak to my fellow women today, I always encourage them that if we're able to run something, if you're able to do something within, even in your community, even if it's in a small way, come up. We have, within Kericho, for example, we have so many we do tea farming. And in our tea farming, we have we call them tea buying centers, our small centers that people would take their tea. But interestingly, when you go to the farms, the people who do farming are women. But when we go to those centers, the people who lead, when they do their elections, they do elections of a chairperson and a treasurer and a secretary. You don't find a woman. And they're the same people who even understand how it looks like picking tea leaves. So I've started from that grassroots level. Women, where are we? Why are we not running for the small positions? So that if we can be able to manage the small things, even people would start believing in us when we go for the big things. So being a woman, you have to do extra work. But I've told myself this is a journey that it's going to end, or it's a struggle that at some point we are going to, win the people and change the narrative that women cannot deliver or cannot lead in our communities. Why women? As a woman and as a mother, I resonate a lot with what happens in the families. Every other time I'm out there visiting, I see women reaching out and being able to really share the things that maybe they would not have shared if they had a man, for example. And most of the time when I'm able to give them that listening here, when I'm able to try and find solutions with them, they feel like they have someone who can talk to, who they can run to. As a mother, I've realized that the moment you touch on issues or you reach out to the women, you're able to reach out to the children. You're able to reach out to their husbands. And when people tell me that women are enemies of themselves, for me it was different. The people who supported me more were women. And it's because they saw something different that they wanted and the leadership that they've yearned for. And reaching out to women, for me, gave me an upper hand to be able to reach out even to the men and to reach out to their sons and daughters and bring the family together so that we could work as a team. What I would do differently, I've learned that the more I engage with the people, the more I listen to them, it makes it easy to even come up with a manifesto when you have the people's needs at hand. And my way of doing it differently would be bring the villagers together. Let them tell us what is this that we've not done or have not done as a leader. What is this that they want me to do as a leader today? And work on that to develop my plan on the next 5 years, for example. I would want to listen to the people more than doing what I think as a leader is needed. Because every time I work with them and I deliver what they wanted, it's been easy. Unlike when you sit as a leader today and say, I think this is what I want to do for the people, and it's not what the people want. So I would be more of engaging the people and working on what they need compared to sitting as a leader and thinking this is what all my people need. I know we have women who've tried and lost. This is not the end of it. What I've realized with women is when we run for an election and we lose, it becomes the end of our engagement with the community. And we miss out. We don't engage the people until when the time for elections comes is when you show up. And most of the time, that is when people tend to, make other decisions or pick on other people because we were not there when they needed us to be there. And for women, let us work together. Let us work closely as women, especially as leaders. And what we are doing in Kericho County currently is trying to bring all the women leaders together and asking ourselves, what is this that has been a challenge that every other election, as elected MCAs, we are only missing, or we are only getting one MCA and missing out on, the one who was there the other time. So we're trying to ask ourselves, what is this that we're not getting as women? What are the resources that we need? Is it the publicity we are missing out? So as women, who aspire to be leaders, keep doing it. Keep working for the people. Keep engaging them. And in the long run, they will build that trust and give us that opportunity to be able to deliver. I just want to say thank you so much for the people of Chemosot ward, for trusting in me, for giving me this opportunity to, to work for them and to be the voice of women. Kericho County has so many other women leaders and many other women leaders in this country. It is my call to political parties to also embrace and support women, even at the grassroots levels, to get resources, to give them an environment that they can campaign and be given a chance to also serve, and be able to grow the economy and, be given the resources that they need. I'm encouraged by the governors who are women. We call them the G7. And the other day I looked at a strategy plan that they came up with. They want to go 2 or 3 times the numbers. And looking at even the performance of these governors who are women leaders today, they're leading in this country. Most of them come as the top 5 or top 10. That tells us that if we get more women going to the top leadership positions, this country will be something else. This country will grow young girls who are leaders and not just people or treated as women and not able to serve in positions that have been looked into like a male-dominated, work, or a male. It's more of a male work and not female. And I would like to appreciate the communities who've embraced the women leadership and supported them to not just go for our term, but to even go beyond and be able to scale up from the maybe the lower positions, even to the governorship, and looking forward to having a president who will be female in future in this country.
It's a season.